The house needed an overhaul, and it was a perfect project to be able to do what works really well in Atlanta, which is a master on the main, all one level for family and entertaining, a garage, motor court, plenty of parking, flat backyard, plenty of space, and I wanted to create a space that had an enfilade layout, that had clear sight lines, but had rooms that had a definitive space for different activities and different purposes. And I was able to do that by expanding the back of the house and doing a very extensive renovation, changing all of the windows so that they were triple hung sash windows and let plenty of light in. And I love that when you open the front door, your eye is immediately drawn through to the back of the house and you can see the pool and the cabana. And I think the color flow and the way everything picks up the light in every room is so wonderful. And I really love to entertain. I love having people over, whether it's a planned or a spur of the moment occasion. And this house is done with such a practicality that it is effortless to run. Everything is where it needs to go. Everything has a place. Everything has a space. And it's all so centrally done that you can entertain in the drop of a hat. There is a place for china storage. There's a bar. There's another bar. There's space for families where there's a downstairs for casual entertaining for the kids. There's spaces upstairs. I wanted to have a large enough dining room that was great for Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners and all the special occasions. And I love having a breakfast room with all the light around it overlooking the gardens. And just the layout alone of the house is so spectacular because every single room opens into another room. And there's this beautiful figure-8 circular flow to the house that just makes it very manageable, but it's beautifully practical. Well, in doing this house and adding the pool in the back, I really had to think through how the pool played with the house. And I wanted to create a backdrop in every area that you looked at the house from the inside to the outside and the outside to the inside. So by putting this master the way I did, it creates this luxurious private bungalow for a master, and there's enough space there where it really feels like a retreat. You step through that hallway and all of a sudden you're in this very private and serene and beautiful little oasis. And I love the sense of privacy. I love waking up in the morning and the curtains open and you see the beautiful view of the pool and then the formal lawn afterward. And just seasonally, it's so beautiful. All the gardens are laid out, so there's always something blooming and there's a beautiful structure to it. So it's just one of those spaces that feels good. And I envisioned a space that was a luxurious retreat for the end of the day where you had a sofa and a bed, and I love a big bedroom, that there's room to do other activities in there than just sleep. And I love how light-filled and airy the room is. And I designed it so that there was a space for a his and her bathroom because I think that we all need a little bit of a sense of escape and privacy. And I really love the idea of creating glamorous dressing rooms where it's a retreat for getting dressed and doing the daily necessities and having a beautiful bath and a great shower, but always having incredible views to the outside. Anytime I do a project, I always think about the gardens in relation to the inside of the house and how the views work. And I like a pretty strict formality in a garden. I like to have a lot of structure. And I also wanted something very whimsical that had every little space laid out to where one went into the other. I love the way that the driveway has the central access and the crepe myrtles are like driving through a tunnel of white blooms. And in the winter, they have the most beautiful branching structure. I love that I have a ton of parking in the front, which is, I think, crucial to a house because how else can you entertain if you don't have enough space for people to get there? And I love having the entrance to the mud hall that goes straight into the kitchen. There's a real practicality to the way things are laid out. And in the back, it's just always beautiful. It's very open, and you have this beautiful view of the pool, but you have beautiful flowers and plants and climbing vines surrounding. And I love the way it plays with the formal lawn with the clipped European hornbeams. That's not something typical of Atlanta. And I wanted the house to feel like it kept unfolding the more you went through it. I love that it's a little bit deceiving from the street. It seems very modest. And then you come in and the house just keeps going and going and going. And to me, that's the mark of good design, when there's always something that's unfolding and you see more and more. And I love how the house has a rich warmth and friendliness to it, but there's this beautiful, relaxed elegance to the way it's laid out and the flow from the inside to the outside. I would hope somebody that moves in here would love it as much as I did and take over that immediate love of being at home. I feel like this house has a wonderful soul. It's got a place for everything and everybody, and I would hope that somebody would come in and find the same joy in lighting a fire and having people over, and hopefully somebody that loves entertaining and loves having people around. So I'm excited to watch the next generation for this house. I did it as a labor of love, and it's really just such a beautifully laid out house, and I think whoever ends up here will be such a special steward of keeping this house as beautiful as it is. I think there's been such an onslaught of McMansions and very large scaled homes that are superimposing from the street. But as a somewhat young person with children, I don't ever want to lose my kids in a house. And I love having houses that have a scale that's manageable and have things that are actually livable. Houses should be comfortable for one person or 40. And sometimes when they get too large and too new and all the bells and whistles come in, all of a sudden you lose that scale and manageability of making a house feel warm and livable. And I'm seeing a big return for people wanting a house that's a house that's a home, not one that's a showcase built for everybody else, but one that's truly built for family and friends and entertaining and just a personal space.